It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor.
Won't you be mine?
Hey, everybody. It's a beautiful Friday morning. And when I say beautiful, I mean it is beautiful. It is deceptively beautiful over here in New York, at least in my end of New York. As I was taking Aurora to some of her morning engagements this morning, I said, wow, Aurora. I said, don't let this get to your head, because we have all of January, we have all of February, we have March, which is a little topsy-turvy, but you might get a couple of 60-something some odd degree days in March. You might get a 60-degree day anywhere these days. But today really felt like spring, but we're not even in the middle of it yet, so try not to let it get to my head on a Friday. And of course, we are going to be having our morning briefing today, Zohran Mamdani style. Any information you bring to the table will be considered a brief. Okay? Just don't bring your briefs. I don't want anything to do with those briefs of yours. But I've got the Quite Frankly Elevation Blend Coffee in the Quite Frankly 2025 mug. We haven't come up with anything for 26 yet, but we still have a couple of these left. And man, I'm spoiled. Best roast I've ever had in my life. And it's been jacked up with Keto Brainz. So you can see the beautiful, creamy, frothy MCT, L-theanine, alpha GPC, lion's mane. Just smelling it makes my mind say, it's Pavlovian at this point. It's like, oh, the coffee and the Keto Brainz are coming. Coffee's, of course, the number one used nootropic in the world. So to pair it with the greatest nootropic, non-dairy, non-sugar creamer is just, it's heaven. And I like reserving my little bit of Friday morning heaven with you. If you want to try it, email me, frank@QuiteFrankly.tv. If you're already a sponsor, you got 20% off forever. And you get 15% off right now, no matter who you are, if you use promo code January. But you know what? I want to talk to our other friend to start off. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to read the chat rooms. I'm just going to go diving into the chat rooms. I've got reels. Some of it is news related. Some of it is just, hey, let's have a laugh. And that's that. I don't like these B-side streams to last more than an hour. So we're going to stick to the format of the non-format. And to start off, I'm bringing on Tony Arterburn. Tony Arterburn is a good friend of mine. He set up for this audience QuiteFrankly.gold a few years ago, and it has been a wonderful portal, a pathway for people of this audience to start engaging in the precious metals world. And you know what? To diversify a little bit, thank God people did. Thank God people did a couple of years ago, because right now it is a whirlwind. And Tony, welcome to the show. I hope that you had a wonderful Christmas. A wonderful New Year is about to begin.
Well, it's great to be back, Frank. Hope you did too.
Yeah, well, I think. Oh, hold on, that's not you. Where is full screen? There's full screen guest. How are you, sir? Yeah, everything's going nice. I mean, it's only the 9th day of the new year, but there's plenty to be said. And I think that's what I'll throw at you right now is Venezuela, because before the raid in Venezuela and then all the pronouncements of what is going to be coming next, there was we had already passed the $80 an ounce mark with silver, and people were saying, oh, this may go to triple digits before the new year even strikes. But now that we have what seems to be a complete reshuffling of the deck over here in the Western Hemisphere, one thing that keeps coming up, and I hope that you can give us a little bit of a understanding of what this means, is that there is a big silver implication with the Venezuela move, that there's silver involved there. It has something to do with China. I couldn't get a handle on what it all meant, but I saw people talking about it. I was hoping you can shine some light on it.
Well, there's gold implications as well. Venezuela has a massive amount of gold still in the ground, trillions, and the same thing with oil. So I think this is really a fourth dimensional warfare situation where you look at Venezuela and you think, well, if you're reading Breitbart or something like standard so-called right-wing media, they'll pose it as a cartel threat or whatever that surface level stuff is. But this is hemispheric, not only energy, but minerals, anything that has to do with rare earth. That's the race that's on right now, and securing that. That's what that was about. I don't agree with the tactics. Obviously, I talked about that after the taking of Maduro last week. I thought it was heavy-handed, outside of the character of the U.S., not the way we should do business. But that is happening, and I think it's part of the strategy of the Wolfowitz Memorandum in 1992. Paul Wolfowitz wrote that memorandum that's just basically the holy grail for the neocons. And a lot of it has to do with not allowing any regional power to ever rival the United States, whether that be Russia or China. And of course, the last decades after he wrote that, China is growing in power. Russia has reset itself. And we really lost that. In the foreign policy realm, we lost the ability to. We didn't negotiate. I think it's on purpose. We didn't create any inroads for markets and things like that, like we should have. So we lost Russia to China, and so China's had the Belt and Road Initiative for many years, as you know, and they've got that's a race for, again, rare earth minerals, precious metals. Oil, things like that. That's what I mean. All the markets are a sideshow, Frank. And if you really get down to it, in a world of fiat, of infinite fiat currency, markets are a sideshow, and even tech is a sideshow, because if you don't have the rare earth minerals to power it, then it doesn't really matter. So you think like silver is the most thermoconductive metal, and it's used in solar. It's used in technology. It's used, I mean, the military industrial complex uses a massive amount of silver. There's 500 ounces of silver in each Tomahawk missile. That's a monster box that you blow up and you never get it back. And so for so long, we've had these paper markets, and I was just reading an article on Keto about this. We've had these paper markets for years and years that really kept the prices of metals low. And then you had this black swan event at the beginning of 2025 where it was the tariffs, or the threat of the tariffs, where all of these bullion banks and holders of actual physical metals moved it out of London and other places back to the United States to avoid the possibility of tariffs. And that caused a cascading event of the paper market really coming apart. Now they can't do those things anymore that they used to do. Whenever you'd see silver start spiking up, they would paper over it. And what they would do is they would just sell off massive amounts of paper to make the price go down. And I watched that over and over again in my career. And now you can't really do that anymore. And this is beyond markets. And Venezuela, to go back to your point, has a role here. It has a role with its natural resources, and it's hemispheric. You got to think it's strategic. It's hemispheric. It's why you hear Greenland's back on play again. That's an old. I've been reading foreign policy books, things that in scenarios for decades now, and Greenland always came up. And it's not a new thing. It's something that the old hawks would talk about for strategy, especially post Cold War. So I look at this move that we're making in Venezuela, and I think this is a larger, again, fourth dimensional warfare. It's a signal to China. It's a signal to Russia, and these. Again, the paper markets are completely irrelevant now, in my opinion.
And that's what
we're talking about.
That's why I'm bringing up right here too, because I've been seeing a lot about that. What little I do know about that is it makes sense to me why silver could be depressed by the amount of paper stock that's issued against the actual physical, element that's coming out of the earth, and especially compared to the rate with which we can actually take it out of the earth. But I've been seeing a lot of this, that a lot of the paper is being sold off, and things are that's obviously where this rebalancing is coming from. Even though there seems to be a little bit of a dip, I have to imagine that it's going to dip as it booms and continues to resettle into higher points of valuation. Would we see are we going to see activity, because silver was so depressed in particular? I know that even to that degree, to a certain degree, the same could be said about gold. But because these metals have been so manipulated and depressed for so long, are they going to act a little bit, at least in the interim, like Bitcoin, where you see these massive booms and then these depressions, and then they just keep taking bigger steps up and up and up until they find their proper place in orbit, or what?
It may act very much like that. And we're in price discovery right now. You got to remember, it took 45 years for silver to break its all-time high. 2025 was 45 years since silver was $52 in 1980, and it never broke that. In 2011, I think we got close to 50. I think it was just like 48, 49. So, and then it fell again, and it stayed dormant. Nobody ever picked up that mantle of cornering the silver market like the Hunt family did in the 1970s. They were punished for that severely because it showed the weakness in the dollar. So nobody ever touched it again. And I've been saying for years, I've watched some of these large trades happen. And when you get somebody that came in like a billionaire that wanted to get a certain amount of physical silver, it was hard to fulfill those orders. I mean, they didn't go through me, obviously, but I'm talking about multiple brokers trying to help like one client. I've seen this in news stories covered over the last 3 or 4 years. I thought, well, as soon as this becomes apparent, I think, to governments, and then when Russia put silver as a strategic reserve asset, I thought, okay, now we're about to see some real moves here. And again, that's what we're seeing. I think we're beyond markets now. This is governments that are now involved in the price of metals, because it's a race for the stockpiles and the reserves of them, because they power the future. I mean, metals power especially silver. Silver is not only a monetary metal, it's an industrial metal. Gold is used in a lot of the same things, but not quite like silver. So I think this is a price discovery, Frank, that we don't really know where it's going. And you could have pullbacks. I think it's irresponsible for people and the commentators to say, oh, we're definitely going to have, $100, $200, $300 silver. Yeah, on a long enough timeline. I mean, because metals against, finite metals against infinite fiat currency, the metals always win as far as price. That's always going to happen because fiat currencies debase themselves. But time is really the issue here, and how fast it's going to come. I think there will be some drawdowns, but they'll be temporary, simply because the amount of silver that is on the market, the amount of physical silver really can't meet the demand. That's where paper and contracts and other things have still kept the price suppressed, because if everything was dealt in physical, we've got hundreds of millions of ounces a year that are deficits. So that's what I'm seeing. It's funny because in the West here, people are selling their silver because they think this is the top of the market. Well, that silver is going somewhere because the price keeps going up. And I have 2 physical locations in 2 different states. And yes, people are buying. There are some, but it's like probably 80 to 20, maybe 90-10 that are selling to buying.
Maybe people just have so much. Maybe some people just have so much that they say, hey, you know what? I bought this when it was $15 an ounce, and I'm just going to sell a couple of pounds of this and make some, get liquid a little bit and go and buy something or do something, another plan, who knows? Sure. But I can't imagine that anybody who is looking at this as a legitimate way to diversify and their savings, or to just to kind of like secure their position with everything that they've earned over the years versus all the fiat nonsense and chicanery that's going on out there. I can't imagine that anybody who pays attention to this long term would see $100, near $100 an ounce, and say, well, it's time to sell, especially when the biggest buyers are governments. I mean, that's the fact that as people are shedding a little bit of weight and getting a little liquid here, and the biggest buyers are still our governments. That right there should tell somebody, hey, hold the line. If not, find a way to get a little bit more, even if it's, I understand right now when you and I started working together, we're talking $20 an ounce around there. And at that point we're saying, hey, buy your first ounces of silver. Yeah, get whatever. And now if people want to buy their first ounces and they're on a minimum budget, they're talking about Mercury Head dimes like I've been giving away for Christmas and on air this past week. And whatever, you got to do what you got to do. But I don't see how this should be the time for people to just start, dropping weight because all the everything is going in a direction of, hey, this is obviously very, very important to what's coming, and to separate yourself from ownership over it right now, to distance yourself, even if it just means in smaller quantities. It just doesn't seem like a logical thing to do.
Yeah, we're in the space between the 1971 experiment that we went on with Richard Nixon taking us off the gold standard. We're in the space between that and the greatest monetary reset in human history. And that's what governments are doing. I mean, they're playing this, they're running the simulations, they're stockpiling the gold. Central banks are stockpiling gold. Silver becomes strategic reserve assets, not only for Russia, but places like India, China's stockpiling. The United States is, again, putting in inroads to rare earth minerals through contracts and other stakes and things like Intel and stuff like that. That we're watching this in real time, and the average person, I think, sees this as a market play. And I would just warn them that I don't think that's what this is. I don't think this is a market play. This isn't really standard market conditions. There wasn't almost anyone that I know of that was calling for this. Like Peter Carruth that I interviewed, who wrote The Great Silver Bull. He might be an outlier, one of the people that's saying this is going to happen. But most people were being more conservative with the price of silver. And so when you add in this other factor of governments, that's what you're seeing with the price. And not only that, but the weakness of the dollar has been exposed against gold. Gold really hit it first. The dollar lost 50% of its purchasing power against gold in 2025 alone. I think we had like 30 all-time highs or some crazy number. And then silver lagged behind for a while and finally caught up. And I think silver's just adjusting itself to its ratio to gold, and we're seeing that close the gap as well. So it's a lot of interesting things happening at once. And I just caution people, because I'm here, with my business, I do buy and I'm happy to do it. But a lot of the wholesalers are backed up for, I think it takes like 2 or 3 weeks to get paid now on some of these larger orders. I'm always worried about cash flow and things like that. So I'm just encouraging people, like, if you can dollar cost average, I'm not telling you to rush out and put all your life savings in gold or silver. I never do stuff like that. But I would say on a long enough timeline, when you trade your fiat currency in for silver or gold, you're going to be okay. You just have to hold it. And you have to, these market swings and fluctuations, just hold through that if you can, because you got to remember, gold and silver are money. The dollar is not money. The dollar is currency. Money has intrinsic value in and of itself. And that's what I think the future will be. I think metals will play a much larger role than they have in our lifetime, Frank, since the early late 70s, early 80s.
Well, I'm excited to see this kind of movement. It's also a little nerve wracking because, when, like, as you said, we are in the middle of a big transition, and the real question is who holds the reins and where are we being dragged? Everything that we're doing in our personal lives are usually just hedges against what much larger and influential powers, banking powers, governmental powers, they're all in bed together, what they have planned for our society. And we have to, unfortunately, and it takes a while for some people to realize this, you're not just planning for your family's future, you're trying to hedge against what other powers in the world want to do with your life, and to try to maintain any kind of autonomy throughout any of that. So it's huge. And the other thing too, because I see all of your reports from Wise Wolf. And I thank God. And I know I'm not going to take credit for all of it, but I know I had something to do with you starting to carry those gold backs. And thank God for those gold backs, because it is such a wonderful way for people to start buying gold without just getting completely, because you think silver is becoming a little bit more out of reach for some people. I mean, gold is like, thank God for those gold backs, man, because that is the
I
best
know.
way for people to start getting it. Those little foil, beautifully put together gold backs. As we leave here, Tony, let everybody know, QuiteFrankly.gold. We still have the Frankly promo code that's open. I know that whatever people buy, no matter how little, if they use the promo code Frankly on QuiteFrankly.gold, you're sending them a little bit extra physical silver, whether they're a couple of dimes or whatever the hell it is. Let everybody know what they can take advantage of going into the new year.
Yeah, you mentioned goldbacks, and I do have to give you credit for that. It was at the same time I started to think about it. You hit me up and were saying how much interest you had on your end for them, and I'd never carried goldbacks before. I'd looked into them, not something that I ever had demand for. But as soon as I started carrying them, the demand went up. So we started putting them in wolf pack. As a matter of fact, this last week, I had to make the decision on the $250 level to take out gold bullion because it just became so expensive. We were trying to source half grammars. And again, it's just too expensive for $250. I said, well, I'll put gold backs in there. So like those tiers, like the smaller tiers, every tier gets a little bit of gold through gold backs. So yeah, thank God for that, because the price is too high. I used to put a gram of gold in the Warrior Wolves because it was under, you get them for $80 or something, and
A
or
gram.
90,
Yeah.
and a gram, and now it's 140, 170. I mean, it's some crazy number that we having to deal with on a gram for retail. So yeah, thank goodness for the gold backs. But yeah, we try to still do the free silver. That's I've been going back and forth on what the proper amount is because the prices continue to increase for silvers. But yeah, you can get free constitutional silver with the promo code Frankly
Well,
on
I
any wolf pack.
I hope that people do that, especially Wolfpack, because that's just a great way of saying, "Hey, Tony, here's $30 a month. I don't care what you get. Send me some chips of something, a couple of gold backs, and it just almost like a set it and forget it kind of a thing." I think that's the aside from just liking your show and you being a stand up guy. I really loved how accessible you made precious metals for people, how no order was too little, and that you understand how this is important for people to get a foothold somewhere. So thank you for that. I'm looking forward to another year with you, and we have to do more of these little check-ins, because it makes a chaotic financial world a little bit more digestible to me. And again, thank you. QuiteFrankly.gold. Tony Arterburn. When's the next time you go live on your show, Tony?
It'll be next week. It'll be the first show of the year, Arterburn Radio transmission. And then I'm bringing back the Wise Wolf Gold and Crypto show. I've promised my audience for a while I'll be back, but I had to adjust my time because of the last quarter was just so insane. And I finally got every systems in place to handle things so I could do some media again. But I'd love to come on anytime with you. I enjoy our conversations. And I do think in a short amount of time that we do speak, we unearth some things and make stuff a little bit more understandable. At least I hope so.
Agreed. Well, have yourself a good day. Thank you for this morning get together.
Oh, thank you, Frank. Always.
All right. Take care. Tony Arterburn, everybody. QuiteFrankly.gold. A nice little drop in there. So, okay. So what's going on? Now it's just you and me. That was 25 minutes or so. And I think we have about a half hour left. So I'm going to jump into the chat rooms now, say hello. We're going to just get into one thing or another. Well, Wichita Buzz, hello. Lithium Triangle is also in South America. Uh-oh. Watch out. Let's see, RJ Williams, silver for weaponry. Sounds like we're going to be hunting vampires and werewolves. Yes, in fact, we will be. It is crazy, though, to think about all that stuff. Silver, even gold. conductors of electricity and what I mean, gold has all it's so many other esoteric value there too. I mean, we're going Anunnaki style with the gold, but to think about all of the silver that is just blown up, been making analogies like that for years about how, you know, everybody says, well, you know, war, they say, well, war is good for the economy. It's a false sense of increase. Obviously, it's good for certain people's economy if you're actually in the war making business. But for us who are funding wars through one means or another, it's never. It's such an old adage. It doesn't really stack up. How the hell can you increase anything over the long term when what you are spending all your money on blows up in a desert? You know, it blows up. Katie Sky says having a job is overrated. You know what? It is. It is. And before you freak out on me, having a job is overrated. It's something you got to do. What is underrated is having a vocation and being able to pursue a vocation, being able to pursue a calling, which always requires insane amount of work. Insane amount of work. What I do never stops. Never stops. Even when I set aside time for family, we have other things going on and whatever. I'm out in the world and I'm always okay. I have to write myself a note. I just have myself a thought. I send myself an email. Oh, something just happened. That's a great idea. Blah, blah, blah. Call this person, call that person. So I say, I totally understood. Work is made tolerable. And when you work with good people, and if you work for a company that does good things, it's, you know, there's obviously work is made tolerable. And of course, the object, the reason that you go out and work is another thing there too. You have responsibilities to yourself, to your household, and all that stuff. And it's cathartic to be able to pay a bill, as much as it sucks. It's also a pat on the back. You did it again. You survived again. But yeah, I think that what we underrate truly is having a vocation. So, all right, let's see. Tommy Jekyll says, I've got to stumble around and see if I can put my hands on, what is that Frank calls it, an 8-ball of keto brains and coffee. Yes, well, I didn't put an 8-ball of keto brains in here, but I put a good amount, a heaping scoop. A heaping scoop. And actually, Molly just got in touch with me, sending out all the stuff for the winners in December. Have to get back to her later. Yeah, remember everybody. I mean, I'm flying high right now. It feels really. I can't wait to just get a little bit of work done over here, clear out all my inboxes, and I have to figure out what to put up for you guys tonight on the show. Hey, you know what was also really cool? You know what was really cool? Last night I had a couple people get in touch with me and say, Frank, your one of your latest short videos with Matt from Cultivate Elevate just made it into the rotation on one of Mod Tricka's latest videos. I don't know if you know who Mod Tricka is. Let me get him up. Hold on. Give me a second here. Easy there. Easy there, boy. Let's see here. I got to get Mod on the show. I reached out to him. Hold on. So Mod Tricka, he pretty much he sits around and puts together these 25-minute long compilations of bizarre and mysterious stuff, and just and every once in a while, this is not the first time it's happened, we pop up in one of his videos. Hold on. Here it is. Let me get this down for a second. This was nice. There we are. Mod Tricka watching me and Matt from Cultivate Elevate. Let's see. Go back a little bit.
That's from the code, right? That don't make nothing, right? Then I look over. I must be high or something, bro. What the The cold did that.
Mother Nature works in mysterious ways because it looks like somebody took a piece of chalk and drew Mr. T.
Conspiracy theory roulette.
The New York Botanical Gardens used to add radium water to their plants, and they noticed that they used to grow 2 to 3 times the size. They also noticed that if they took radium and put it by their plants that was submerged in pure darkness, the plant would sprout and flower as if it was seeing the sun. And you can look this up if you want to pull it up. Type in RATOR fertilizer.
So yeah, I've seen this from the library, ucsd.edu. This is like it's from a college library. Oh, I see this. Yeah, radium fertilizer. You know, it's not like when you reference things, there's not a source for people to go and verify that there's material there.
Honestly, radium fertilizer can't be much worse than the glyphosate they spray on our crops now, so I'll give it a try.
Yeah, give it a try. There's Montrica. So that was really awesome. And you know what? It's a good omen for 2026 because we got to do more collaborating and got to get out there into the world, and there you have it. I saw there was a $200 billion bond announcement for mortgages from the Trump administration. Said that he would be having the U.S. buy about $200 billion in mortgages to curb the cost of housing. The total value of outstanding mortgage debt on 1 to 4 family homes in the United States was $13.07 trillion as of 2025, according to data from LendingTree. This figure reflects mortgage debt on 86.67 million mortgages with an average loan of about $150,802 per borrower. The Federal Housing Finance Agency, which should be eliminated, also provides updates, aggregate statistics on outstanding residential mortgages throughout the National Mortgage Database, which tracks the volume and characteristics of active mortgages. Total value of housing market owned by households, $45.5 trillion in the third quarter of 2023, driven by 3.1 increase in housing equity to $32.6 trillion. So I don't know how much it brings it down. Obviously, I guess it's all. That was interesting to see. Not as interesting as barring BlackRock and giant corporate interests from getting in on residential sales. I thought that was nice. I also saw the long list of all of these UN-related organizations that are now being cut off from us, at least temporarily. You know, these are executive actions that could be taken. I mean, there's a dollar amount that is. There's a dollar. Chris Ann Hall was laying down some commentary on, you know, what it takes constitutionally to actually break a treaty and to break and to remove ourselves from an agreement on one level or another. Again, just honing in on the fact that we have so little congressional involvement. I mean, what are you going to do? We're just so cursed. When it comes to our legislative branch, we're cursed. And not in a good way, you know. I wish that we were this deadlocked on not being able to get anything done legislatively for the last 200 years. That would have been nice, you know. But, you know, they built a new country on top of the old country and then became deadlocked. See how that works? See, that's the new conservative movement. How do we conserve what we have built over the last 100 years on top of the bones of the old republic? Anyway, that's one thing for you. I've got a lot of other things going on that I want to do with you. So let's just jump in. Let me go to the chat rooms, make sure I see everybody. I am Fletcher on Rumble. Remember, we're only on YouTube, Rumble, and Pilled. I think we're actually, we might be on Twitter as well. Hey, Frank, thoughts on getting the U.S. back on the gold standard and possible U.S. Treasury note? I mean, thoughts on it? That would be, I mean, not only commonsensical, it would be great for all of us. It's the only prescription that we have. That's the only legal prescription for how our money's supposed to be. So I would love it. I would love it. And it would make a lot of the spending that we have going on right now impossible. It really would. You know? What's going on, Flashy Wizard? It's going on. And Chris, that's cool, Frank. Good to see you. Tony's the man. Holy smoke on mortgages. That is Trump Nisara, but the big beautiful bill, I have to re-listen again. That's NMO Core 619. So I'm just reading the general chat on these B-sides. Over on Pilled, Amethyst Cat woke up to the side of dirt. This side of the dirt, so all is well, says Artist 61. That's a good way of looking at it. A lot of cool people hanging out on Pilled, as always. And Wart Guy, Shane B. Susan Kimotek says, Frank, can you do book club links with YouTube? I can't stand through Pilled. There's no button to do so. No, all of our exclusive, our members only streams are on Pilled. We would need a lot more people in the audience to sponsor the show for me to be able to get a little bit more independent on that. But not only do I believe in platforms like Pilled that give us all of the leeway. First of all, we would never be able to do watch parties. So Film Club just would not be possible on YouTube or anywhere else where we're actually watching a movie together. It's private, of course. But I mean, all you got to do is press play. I made sure that when we were started, when I made that agreement with Pilled, that people just press play, even if you're not a member. No, Frank, I can't cast. Yes, you can. It's very simple. The cast button is right on the screen. So I'll get like a 30-second video to flash on the screen before every watch party begins to kind of walk people through it. But moving on to something else. Let's see here. So over in Minnesota, I saw that there was another, like a CHOP. You remember the autonomous zone that we saw in Washington in 2020 or whatever it was? There's a no-go zone in Minneapolis around where the woman got herself killed. It's the only way to say it. Only way to say it. People are biting off way too much more than they can chew. They have lived far too long inside of a very crazy fantasy world. And they think that all of this huffing and puffing that they do on Facebook and on Twitter and on Blue Sky and all that stuff, that it's going to translate in the real world with some kind of action or them being remembered as a hero. And they're trying to turn her into George Floyd as hard as you can. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And honestly, the best thing to do for us to do is really not follow it too much. I hope that the authorities that are at play here continue on with whatever they have to do. There needs to be increased deportations. The ICE cannot be dissuaded in any way, shape, or form by what's going on here. And I really hope that mayors and governors just start getting arrested straight out and continue on with this, and that protesters, people want to air their grievances, they certainly can, but blocking traffic, causing any kind of property damage, taking any kind of liberty that they have been used to taking over the last 6 years, especially since 2014. I just hope that is met with stern resistance from the authorities, because you know what? What's the point? What's the point of all the, we talk about the taxation here too, how much we're being stolen from and how much is just being, stolen again. They steal from us with the guise of making the whole country better, infrastructure, healthcare, education. And then we get the stories about Minnesota, Minneapolis, the Somalis, the daycare centers, all that stuff, which we know is just the tip of the iceberg. And And that right off the bat is just like, oh, what the hell are we paying for? But, you know, we also pay law enforcement, which is supposed to be a safeguard against craziness. And it doesn't, like, can you please just do what you got to do? Nick Sorter. An autonomous zone has been declared by leftists in Minneapolis. It's being referred to as a no-go zone. Oh, yeah? Kick over the barricades, break it all up, clean it up, bring in the bulldozers, take all the trash out. They're like little beaver people. They like to make their little beaver dams. They take all the trash and the refuse, and they make a barge pile, and they're like, this is our playpen now. And this is where we're going to grow all our food. Like they said over there with the Chaz. Just get it gone. Here it is. Take a look. Of course, they bring in the drums. There you go. Fuck ICE. They take in all these pallets, wooden pallets. It's just a big pile of garbage. They're like beavers. I got to build a dam today. I'm going to redirect this river. You freaks. It's essentially a homeless encampment. It's a big pile of garbage. There's people behind it warming their hands by a trash fire. It's like it's worse than Pottersville. Whenever they have an autonomous zone, isn't that hilarious? These are the people who want to remake the world. They think that humanity is not being served by the government. And as soon as they declare a zone autonomous where they are the supreme authority in that area, it starts off looking like a pile of garbage. That's how it starts. Like, is it only going to get better from here? Where does it go from here? No, this is just our generation 1 pile of garbage. Oh, we're gonna build a society. This is our society. Yeah, no, just pile it all up over here, and this is gonna be our trash file. You bring in some, bring in the trash cans. This is where we're gonna warm our hands, and then over here is where we're gonna make our peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Good Lord. Good Lord. I'm just saying, don't give these people a day to enjoy their little sandcastle. Break it up. It's over. Kaneko the Great, the wife of Renee Nicole Good, the 37-year-old Minneapolis shooting victim who attempted to run over an ICE officer, who people say she tried to run him over. Honestly, I can't bring myself to that point to say that. He's in front of the car. We've seen this from every angle now. We have more angles than you have a replay in Major League Baseball. We have more camera angles than you can conceive of. He's in front of the car. It's a danger to his life, and you have everybody in a high-strung situation who's not. She's not thinking clearly. Her lesbian partner that put her in that position to try to create a media moment, to try to create a caravan of cars to obstruct ICE and all that other stuff. They were only thinking about what they can create as far as optics, and again, bit off way more than they can chew. I don't think she was trying to kill the officer. I think that when she realized she was in over her head, she just wanted to get out of there. And if you're the cop, if you're the agent, all you know is that there is a crazy person who's not listening to orders, who has already put themselves in the middle of a federal operation, law enforcement operation, that is now behind a motor vehicle, the wheel of a motor vehicle that you are in front of, and they're not stopping, and you don't know their intent. You can assume, but that's just it. And like I said before, nothing matters after that. Nothing matters before that. We have spent, especially the last 4 months since September, reminding all the factions, reminding each other that nobody values the other person's life. One side doesn't even value life from the onset. But especially when it comes to political opponents, no. Everybody has it coming, but not her. She didn't have it coming. She had a mandate from whatever god they worship to get in the middle of that operation because, of course, the illegal immigrant is just so much more highly valued than everything else. It's just nuts. Nobody's thinking. And I'm glad it's the wintertime, to be honest, because I want less reason to be anywhere. I want less and less reason to leave the house. I'll work out in the basement. I'll go for walks. I'll do some broadcasts. I'll watch some reels. But where the hell is that coming from? I don't know what that is. I swear to God, I don't know what that is. The Streamlabs is not hooked up on this computer. I'm going to have to figure it out. Let's see. Hello, Achilles Pickle over on Rumble. Amethyst Cat and Smitten Kitten and Tommy Jekyll and Stacks over on Pilled. It's good to see you guys. Oh, Wart Guy. It might be all the YouTube. But why? I'm going to have to go into the back end of Streamlabs after I get off. Wart Guy, thank you so much for the tip, my friend. And Lisa Gray. Lisa, thank you so much for that one. It's such generous. So generous. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. It's the YouTube super chats. Yeah, I know, but the alerts shouldn't be on. Thank you so much, Lisa. I can't thank you enough. Paul Allen's business card. Pottersville had Nick's Bar. The Chaz had Chop. Both promised a revolution. One at least served drinks. You're right. I know. Pottersville had some burlesque. They had some bars. They had some burlesque. They had a library. They had a library. Okay, let's get into some other stuff here. Oh no. Oh, what did I just do? Shit. Give me a second. I wanted to do some reels before we left. Take a look at that. No, you want to see crazy? I mean, we see crazy every day, but this is just, it's nuts. It's just crazy.
Go ahead! Shoot me! Go ahead! Shoot me! You want to shoot me?
Do you want to talk about, look at that face. The white boomer granny. You want to talk about biting off too much you can chew? This woman is actually asking, just screaming into the crowd, of course, because she's saying, shoot me, go ahead, shoot me. Because somewhere inside she knows she's not going to be shot, but this is all performative. And again, it's part of a performance that got... What have I done? Well, thank you. Because every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. And obviously it's a sound that indicates to me that I just got blessed by another wonderful person in the audience. But I have to figure this out. It's very disruptive. You can but I mean, think about this. It's a performative mindset that got the other woman killed. And this person is just out there screaming for somebody to straight up start off by shooting her. As if she got shot, what would she do? Go back and just like be at peace. Think like it'd be like one of those movies where somebody has some kind of a noble death. And like, no, 'tis well. They're out of their minds. And these are the people who snickered and rationalized Charlie Kirk's death. How many boosters do you think she's had? That woman. At least 7. There's got to be at least 7. Whatever booster is available. She probably batches them. You have a batch? Give me a batch of boosters. Olympic sport. What the hell is this? It's ST. It says TGIQF. See what I did there? Happy Friday, everyone. ST, thank you so much. I appreciate you. She got brain worms. If only she had keto brains. Keto brains ain't going to help that. Keto brains ain't going to help that. Keto brains, you need an exorcist. RJ Williams in the chat. Call RJ. He'll exorcise you. And Ashley Babbitt. Oh, yeah. Well, Shane, you see, that's the crazy thing here. It's offered up, and as I said, you're never playing chess or checkers with people. You're playing tic-tac-toe. And one move really doesn't, it's just all reflexive. And you can't expect somebody who is in that mindset to ever really, to make the connection between how contradictory a stance they had just the day before is from the stance they have that day that they're in right there. You won't be able to do it. You talk to them long enough, there's just contradictions all over the place. Ashley Babbitt and this woman. They're similar type figures. Similar type figures. Of course, you know, I just, it's nuts. She means well. It's her Super Bowl moment, says Pharaoh in the chat room. These commercials are disruptive. There's one commercial every 18 minutes, Susan. Relax. That's the nature of the internet. You don't see a, first of all, I don't know how anybody uses YouTube primarily and doesn't have YouTube Premium. I don't know how anybody uses YouTube and not have Premium. YouTube is a nightmare. YouTube, Rumble, they are nightmares. At least on Pilled, you get one right up front and then nothing the rest of the way. Let's see here. Great work, Frank. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. And let's see. Okay, let's go over. Let's do a little bit more. Olympic sport. Olympic sport rocked by Penisgate. As athletes inject their members to gain advantage, an Olympic sport has been rocked by Penisgate, with athletes injecting their members to gain an advantage. An Olympic, oh God, can you tell me? A sport defined by length. Some athletes are going to new extremes to eke out an extra few inches, and that's before they've even jumped. With just weeks until the Winter Olympics in Italy, ski jumping has been rocked by Penisgate, with athletes allegedly thinking bigger means by injecting their nether regions, according to a German outlet Bild. They claim that 3D scanner measurements for the crotch area of their jumpsuits are taken from the lowest point of the athlete's member, meaning any extra growth could translate to a competitive advantage before they even take off. As a result, when taking off, the surface area of the athlete is much larger, which increases the possibility of a better jump. And it's this information that has reportedly led to some athletes to inject hyaluronic acid into a silicone condom, a condom-like device that is worn in the trousers. Okay, so they're not actually putting it in their peni. Wait, are you sure? Runa Velta came into the locker room before the qualifiers and said, you have to be prepared for questions about penis injections. I have to admit that I thought it was nonsense. No, I've never heard of it until today. When I took my measurements, it was a doctor who examined me to make sure I didn't have a fake penis. He added, I assume that they are speculating about something like the body scan before the season, and it's true. It's better to be warm and comfortable than a little cold when measuring. You shrink up. That could be true, he says. Norway have already admitted to manipulating costumes at a World Cup in Trondheim last year by sewing in a reinforced thread in the suit, which would allow more lift in the air. Can you imagine? The way I consider this, we have cheated, said Jan-Erik Alabu, general manager of the federation. We have tried to cheat the system. That is unacceptable. Wow. Wow. You know, in baseball, you can cork a bat. You can cork your bat in baseball. Get a little better distance out of every swing if you make contact, of course. But this, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. All right, let's see here. Leave it to the Italians. Exactly. People who, let me see here. Guarantee this penis Olympic shit is Euro trash idea. I don't know. I don't know what that means. But listen, I mean, I guess if you're in one of those sports where everything is, everybody tries to get an advantage. I remember when we were all growing up and Cool Runnings came out, John Candy, and talking about the Jamaican bobsled team. And what was the whole deal about John Candy? John Candy was like one of the premier bobsledders, but he had a bad reputation. He had a bad reputation that followed him around because he was banned from the sport for what? For putting weights, something that was a little bit more weighted underneath the bobsled to give them a little. Everybody's looking for it. Now, it didn't seem like there was actually injections going into the organ, but but the silicone I mean, my gosh, it seems so minimal. Anywho, let's keep going. All right, here's a video. This is incredible. I don't know. Falling videos are kind of funny, especially if nobody's like seriously hurt. This one, I don't know. But I just want to do a little bit with you. Here, a ring cam, a footage that I found on Instagram the other day. Listen to this. Oh. You got up. Oh. Okay, now the reason why I laughed my ass off at this, and he said, this is me at my home. It's not AI. It wasn't funny at the time, but all wounds heal, and that's why he was posting it. Okay. And because I know he's all right, I got the opportunity to have an even bigger belly laugh because he sounds like MacGruber when he's winding down sex. And I know what he's dealing. He's like, he got the wind knocked out of him. He landed like this, so I don't know if he got a broken rib or something like that. I'm gonna shoot. All I kept thinking about was MacGruber when I heard this, and I just, I don't know. Sometimes it's just one of those things. 11:28, we're making good time. All right, I found this video over here, everybody. You remember I told you that there was a video of what does it say? An update on a car that crashed into a house while a woman was inside sleeping. Okay, this is ABC 7. A couple days ago. Remember I couldn't get it to play? Well, I got it over here. Take a look at this.
ABC 7's Olivia Vera here. I'm on the corner of Sharp and Sun Valley Drive, where early last night a car
Tell me what you notice.
lost control and crashed into this house, injuring the woman who was asleep in her bed behind this wall. I'll have more information about this story coming up tonight. ABC 7's Olivia.
Did you notice something? Did everybody see it? Let's watch it again.
Vera
Hold on.
here. I'm on the corner of Sharp and Sun Valley Drive, where
because every time I reload it, I have to. I miss the front because they put up that notice. Hold on.
in her bed behind this
I'm gonna try to pause it.
coming up tonight.
What the hell is she doing? What is grandma doing? Does anybody have a grandmother that sleeps like this? Like, I thought that this was an absolute. I said, I don't understand what I'm seeing right here. She is face down, ass up, with her feet off the bed into a pillow. I look. Come on now, people. The first thing to why is Granny sleeping like that? Let's see what else the comments. Grams was praying for. Grams was praying for pound time, and her prayer was answered. Someone else said, the super back shot of doom. I have so many questions about this. Me falling asleep after telling him to come over. Why was she sleeping like that? Ain't no way she was tooted up. I hope she's all right. Yeah, well, I mean, I want to know why. I want to know how she started sleeping like that. Like, what was the why? I don't think that's AI. I don't think that's AI. But I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. Does anybody else have a very strange sleeping position? Let me know. I mean, if you're a parent, you have seen your children sleep in all types of weird pretzel-like ways. But it's very strange to see an old woman like that in that position. I think she's okay. Though it's damn. Filter Dog on Pilled says, from my laptop, right click on the screen gives option to cast to the device. From my iPhone, I have a cast button next to the live button. No, Filter Dog, yeah, on Pilled, the casting options are very, very simple. Like I said, we've already had 3 film club watch parties to end the year. We watched Eyes Wide Shut. We watched It's a Wonderful Life in December. And then on New Year's Day evening, we watched End of Days. So there's that. Thank you, though, Filter Dog. I'm going to get a step-by-step, quick 25-second video to play before every watch party and stuff to kind of hold people's hands. But yeah. Okay, Amethyst Cat, thank you for the cookie. What else do we have here before we go? What else do we have here? We got the guy that... Who's this? Oh, my gosh. Yeah, no, this has to be done. I saw this. This was... I don't know why this is the truth. I was actually talking to a family member of mine on Christmas about, I don't know why, about mechanical pencils. You guys, does anybody out there still use mechanical pencils? I love mechanical pencils. And if you remember having mechanical pencils in your pencil box when you are a kid, especially back in the 90s, there's only one thing, only one memory that comes to mind. Nothing about the actual work I was doing with the pencil. But here you go. Hello, Jorge says, me and Phil. The way that his eyes roll back. Yeah, people in the comments. Why was I doing that shit? Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, if we weren't shooting ourselves up, we were trying to shoot up our friends. Come on, people in the chat room, press 1 if you were taking mechanical pencil shots constantly. Press 1 in the chat room, spam the chat with 1. Let me know. Come on. And you, as if you were, and you had the 3-inch, you were going like 3-inch needle too. Come on now. Be honest. Yeah, Rocky Royale knows. Come on now. Everybody's doing it. 2 Dogs, Mike D. We were medicating our friends and ourselves. It never ended. And of course, that's why we never had mechanical pencils for long because the pencil, the carbon always broke, snapped right off. It was very fragile. We were never using it. So you start off the school year with like a box full of mechanical pencils, and by like a month in, you're just back to your regular old number 2, asking your teacher if you can use the pencil sharpener. Yeah, come on up. And I used to love the smart pencil sharpeners. The smart pencil sharpeners that knew when the pencil was sharpened and it stopped. Because then you had those hungry ass pencil sharpeners that were just like, feed me. Give me something to eat. There is no end to my hunger. And you just give that pencil to the sharpener and it's like, oh yeah, no, we're still sharpening. And the whole pencil is gone. And you didn't care because it was kind of cool. It was almost like a tiny little wood chipper. It's like, yo, can I borrow one of your pencils? Like, we'll sharpen it for you. You become addicted to it. Give me your pencil. Let me sharpen your pencil, bro. Oh, man. Hold on. One more, then we're out of here. It's 11:36. I do not want this to be a long stream. Let me see. Over on... Where the hell's my... Where's all of my stuff that I said? Oh, here we go. Oh, here's a...
Attention, retards. I repeat, attention, retards. If you're a Minnesota Democrat snowflake, please move along. We're trying to get rid of all you retards from our small towns and cities. So if you watch CNN, you're definitely retarded, and you need to leave now. Please grab your belongings and join this group of retards leaving the city. We will deport you back to Retardistan, a beautiful place full of specially retarded people like you. Believe me.
Believe me. All right. Well, that's something else. What's this? Liberal takes a skateboard to the face after harassing a street preacher. What's this?
Christ, I pray for him.
Jesus
I don't understand what he's going through right now.
Jesus Christ,
but I call his name.
From putting the back
I
of your
ask
head
Jesus Christ
on the back of the fucking deck, sir.
For him to relax. I rebuke all demons
Jesus
and
Christ
the devil.
Is not going to help you.
I rebuke the devil.
Damn, Jesus just showed up with a skateboard and hit somebody in the face. That's crazy. You know, every once in a while, that's like being online, sitting around. You're the only one that's paying attention to the traffic signs. Somebody takes off. You're like, if I were a cop. Every once in a while, there's a cop sitting right there. You're like, yes. What's this that was sent my way?
You're fucking paranoid, you are fucking, you bloody, fuck you, bloody, bastard, bitch, you fuck you, bloody, fuck you, bloody, fucking mother, bloody, fuck, bitch, you, bloody, fuck you.
Yep, there you go. London 2025. London 2057. All right, do I have anything else over here? Laura Ingram talking to a protester that admits that she is being paid.
Shame! Shame!
Do you have a job? Do you have a job?
Shame! Shame! I'm getting paid right now! Shame! Shame! Shame!
I'm getting paid right now. They're so stupid. They're so stupid. Ugh. And a little bit of here's a little bit of Friday motivation for you as we leave. Another person talking about tard maxing in 2026. Take it from him. I like his take.
That's why retard maxing is so smart. If you just, let's say you're not a retard. If you just pretend you're a retard and you retard max with everything you do, you're going to get farther in life than someone that's a genius. Because a retard doesn't think. He just does a bunch of moves. And when a retard does a bunch of moves, he gets ahead. That's why.
Just do a bunch of moves. Let me show you my moves. That's what Aurora says. You want to see my moves? Yes. All right, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful Friday. I will be live tomorrow night with Akira the Don, I believe. That'll be a Saturday night special. That'll be on QuiteFrankly.tv, pilled.net. And we should be able to premiere that next week, maybe after the Playhouse. We'll do a double dip on a Friday night since I'm creating a little extra time with you guys broadcast-wise this week and next week. It'll be nice. But thank you for hanging out with me in the morning, especially if you are in a time zone that restricts you from being able to get here for a live show from time to time. I also want to thank not only Tony Arterburn from QuiteFrankly.gold. Get in touch with them over there. You don't have to just make a purchase. You can just get in touch with them, ask them some questions. What do you think I should do? Can you set me up with a little tiny monthly buy or whatever the hell else? Just whatever you do, use promo code Frankly, and he's going to send you some silver, extra silver on top, whatever you get. And then also the coffee experience that I have every time that I go live with you in the morning. QuiteFrankly.tv, you go right up top to the shop drop down. You'll see Keto Brainz. You'll see coffee. At the coffee is where you can get not only the actual beans, but you can also get a mug. And the Keto Brainz is hell, man. The promo code is January for this month. 15% off the top, and if you spend over $100 there, you get a free bag of creatine, which is not only a great pre-workout, it's great muscle growth and support and strength and endurance, but also has another cognitive boost that is built into it as well. That's starting to be found in studies. So all the best to you guys and gals. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of a morning excursion with me, and I'll be in touch. That's that. If you are a new sponsor, make sure you get in touch with me so I can get your address and I can send you a welcome package in the mail and some Keto Brain samples and everything else. You guys are the best, and I will I'll see you all soon. Have a good one, my friend. Oh, wait. Let me just make sure I got everybody. Let me make sure I got everybody's super chats. Steve, great week, Frank. Thank you, Steve. We did J-Sem, Jesse Seminara, Wart Guy, that's Paul, ST, and of course, Lisa Gray with the big one today. But you guys are all gigantic in my heart. Filter Dog, Amethyst Cat, thank you. And then over on Rumble, I want to thank I Am Fletcher once again. Have a great, great day, my friends. Take care.